Is it preparing for a team the second time around during the season?
Well, it's not that different than preparing for them the first time, or
Yeah.
Well, it's been a month, and so they're doing some different things. They got same core group of guys playing. Boston College is very good offensively, and it will throw a lot of different things at you defensively. So you try to look at your first game, see the things that you did well, see things that you struggled at, and then look at their last 3 or 4 games and see if they're doing some of that same stuff.
We talked a little bit last week about how it can be difficult to prepare when you're not even sure which players are going to be available. Do you know who's going to be able to play this go around? You know about Trey particularly?
Trey is questionable. I think he's a tough kid and wants to play, but you just got to be careful, because if he can't play with the explosiveness and the acceleration that he's accustomed to playing with, then there's frustration sets in, and he's trying to do everything he can. He basically lives with Richard, the trainer, right now. He's with him every waking minute. So we're just going to have to play that by ear. When you have a week off from the next game to the following game, you just have to weigh the positives and negatives. He felt good heading in that game, and I think it's tightened up as the game went on. He was on the bike trying to stay loose and different things like that. So I think the challenge is this, first with Travis, but then, with Robert, and then when Jason went down, we had to, kind of go to playing a different way and different rotations and different things like that. Now the challenge is when those guys come back, you have to kind of reinvent yourself again.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I was pleased with Robert in his 16 minutes, watching him and then watching it again on film. He was explosive. There was nothing. It was rust. His was rust. And so we just need to work that out through reps and practice, and hopefully through a couple more games.
Well, he looked like he was more comfortable the longer he played, literally.
Yeah.
The first few minutes he was literally like on sea legs, and he got a little stronger.
And
more
so I think that's, the biggest thing with him is reps and getting some more practice time in, and so forth, and I think he'll be good to go.
He recovered okay?
Yeah, he felt pretty good. Felt pretty good yesterday, and so he's ready to go full practice today.
Is there anything distinctive that you've seen from Boston College that's different now than the last time you saw?
Well, they hit 6 threes in the second half against us, and that's what led them to be able to come back. And when they shoot the ball well, then they're as good as anybody around, and they're a lot like us. They've lost some hard luck games. They lost in overtime at home or at Notre Dame, and lost some close games at home. Again, just a team that you wouldn't have predicted would be 2-8 at this particular time, but they've changed their lineup a little bit. Odio's not in the lineup, so he gives them a lift off the bench right now. At times they try to play a little bigger and get Anderson off the 5 spot, but he's still primarily playing there.
Is this a team where you really like to work the ball inside with Daniel and Cam?
Yeah, but they do a good job of changing up their defenses and keeping the ball out of the post. They did a good job in their zone last time against us in terms of, we were very tentative against it. Didn't drive the ball very well and didn't get the ball into the post as much as we needed to. So we're going to have to work on that the next couple of days.
In the event that Trey does not play, obviously you lose his scoring ability and so forth, but is it also worth noting that you lose his experience and his ability to recognize changing defenses
No
and
question.
things like that?
Yeah, no question about it. We wouldn't win that game at BC if it wasn't for Trey. Hit the big 2-point shot, hit the big 3, was very good defensively. So, yeah, we're a much different team because with him at the point, you can, if he's in there with Corey, you can live with, Corey's emphasis more on the defensive end and setting up guys. I think Corey has 17 assists and 5 turnovers or something like that in the Big Ten, in the ACC games, in these games in conference play. He's done a good job, but you don't get the scoring from there. And then if you have Trey and Chris out there, you have 2 guys that can put the ball in the basket. So it changes, how we do things a little bit, but it also the experience of recognizing defenses and knowing what to do to attack them is a big key as well.
If you don't have Trey out there, who do you look for to split that seam in the zone to set up the pass?
Well, it's got to be a little bit of everybody. You have to be able to do it from the top, and you have to be able to do it from the wing. So all those perimeter players need to have a point of emphasis of against the zone. You want to paint touch, be it either off the dribble or off a pass, and then we have to get that when we face zones.
With Chris, when he's had his bigger scoring games, have you noticed that he's been more confident or more aggressive, or? And I mean, obviously he puts out his shots when he hasn't scored as much, but have you noticed anything different when he's played well? I mean, it's a good
Not much. Yeah. I mean, obviously, usually if he makes a first shot, he tends to be a little more aggressive and a little more confident. But again, he's still even in that game on Saturday. He made a couple of those shots. One was a Christer, at the end of the clock, oh Christ, and the ball goes in. You know what I mean? But he just even in that, we need him in better rhythm on offense. You know what I mean? And better, and at times he's shown glimpses of it, but it hasn't been, for a full game yet.
Is that on him to get in more rhythm, or how do you?
A little bit on both, I guess. A little bit on, a little bit of both. Just we have to do a better job. There's some areas in the game that for us, scoring wise, that have been limited over the last month. We're not scoring in transition as well. We're not, different things like that where you can get some easy baskets or whatever the case might be. But it's also, being aggressive and being making good decisions with the basketball, when to shoot, when to pass, different things like that.
After the game Saturday, we talked a little bit about the rebounding disparity. After you watched the video, did you notice anything that stuck out to you? Why that?
We didn't do a great job of pursuing rebounds. You know what I mean? As perimeter players, we need our perimeter players to rebound for us. It's just a simple fact. We need that. We need all 5 guys on the court when a shot goes up to be engaged on the defensive glass, and we didn't have that. Now, again, it's 1 out of every 5 plays that we don't. But that's what I keep saying. That's what we're fighting for now. For us to get to the next step, for us not to just be good enough to play a top 20 team for 35 minutes and be tied, but to beat that team. That 1 out of 5 over a course of a 40-minute time is what gets your ass beat. And that's what we're fighting for right now, is that one possession where the guards aren't engaged and they get an offensive rebound. And now, instead of us being up 4 with the ball, it's a 2-point game, or it's a tie game, or whatever. It's the same thing with the free throws. We're a 70% free throw shooting team, but you go 3 of 13, and you say, it's only 10 misses. But the problem is, it's but even not even so much front ends, because we only missed 2 of those. But you're up 3 and you go to the free throw line. Now you can put yourself up 5, and then you miss the front end. And then they go down and hit a 3 and it's a tie score. Or they're up 3 points and you get fouled and you make 1 out of 2. So instead of cutting it to 1, they're up 2 and they go down and hit a 3 and now they're up 5. And so those are key plays in games that when you're not very good, they're not highlighted. But when you're right on the verge of being able to compete and win some of these games, they become very, very important. And it's, that's the part of the process we're in right now. And at times, man, it's a hard part because, you're right there and the guys know we're right there and just can't quite grab it. So it's tough. But that's why you got to keep fighting, because you're close.